Most GP riders and teams arriving for day 2 of the official Phillip Island test were once again greeted by rain and a wet track in the morning. Luckily, after a couple more showers and after a number of riders decided to try heading out on the wets and Michelin Intermediate, normal service was resumed by about midday once the track had dried. After the inclement weather, which pretty much stopped any meaningful testing in the dry on day 1, the teams were glad to get some dry running time and certainly made the most of it, with everyone improving on their times from the first day. It was Rookie of the Year from last season, Team Suzuki X-Star's Maverick Vinales, who led the way on his GSX RR as he improved by over 3 seconds from yesterday to head the timesheet with a 1:29.131, set on his penultimate lap of the day out of a total of 64. This was still a second off the best lap time from last year's race, but saw him finish 0.161 seconds ahead of that man, double MotoGP World Champion Marc Marquez, who'd led the timing screens at various points throughout the day. The Spaniard heading out in the last 10 minutes though to set a 1:29.292 in his Repsol Honda RC213V and showed that the team seems to be making some headway with the electronics. Reigning MotoGP World Champion Jorge Lorenzo looked set to finish on top of the timesheets before the frantic last 15 minutes. In the end, he had to settle for third, just 0.06 of a second behind Marquez and 0.226 seconds off the pace of Vinales as he completed 80 laps. His title rival from last year, and of course his teammate, the GOAT, Valentino Rossi, was just a further 0.04 of a second back in fourth, the Italian completing 71 laps in the process and improving by over 3.5 seconds from day 1. LCR Honda's Cal Crutchlow matched his performance from the first day by finishing in 5th, just over half a second off the pace of Vinales. The British rider was a leading satellite rider as he used the Evo engine Honda had supplied him with, combined with the chassis used last year, and completed 61 laps. Avintia Racing's Hector Barbera once again found himself up amongst the big boys as he ended the day in 6th on the Ducati GP 14.2. Spaniard only has one bike available to him at the test, so didn't head out on the first day in the mixed conditions, but put in 54 laps on day 2 to finish just 7/10 behind Vinales as the leading Ducati and ahead of the factory Ducati Venturini in 7th, while Pedrosa, who had a small crash at turn 4 but was unhurt, was in 8th, and Scott Redding and Bradley Smith completed the top 10 that was separated by just 0.8 of a second. In fact, all 19 full-time riders were within 1.5 seconds of each other, which goes to show how much the playing field has been levelled. Dovizioso there down in 12th, plus the man who led the way yesterday, Petrucci, in 14th, with Jack Miller completing 58 laps on his return from injury in 17th, ahead of Irishman Eugene Laverty in 18th and Tito Rabat in 19th. There was a crash for Takuya Tsuda, the Suzuki test rider, and Yoni Hernandez also went down, but both were unhurt, and the final day of the Phillip Island test kicks off at 9:45 AM local time on Friday.